Well, afternoon. How are we all? I think I reached breaking point with the human species at round about 3:30 this afternoon. Been painting down at Chip. Miniatures from Space Crusade, the old Warhammer Milton Bradley cooperation game. Yeah. Today I've been nearly run over by numerous stupid cyclists where they should be getting off their bikes. This morning on my walk in the park, I picked up cans of Monster and various other rubbish, and some horrible excuse for a human being had basically left their kid's shitty nappy down by the wilderness pond on the floor. Luckily, one of the park attendants came along and I told him about it and they got rid of it. So, that was before I even went into town. In town, there was just little nudges of people just being rude and self-obsessed and inconsiderate, and I could feel the prickliness rising. I could feel that anger. But you have to direct it. You can't just explode at the next person who does something a little bit annoying. You got to control it, which I never used to be able to do. So I'm working on it. Basically, another thing, I'll put this on my Facebook, but I'll explain it in person, as it were. I'll just take a sip of my coffee out of my I drink coffee and no things mug. Believe me, I'll be having a couple of pints if I had any money whatsoever. I've got some Romanian Banu, but they amount to about 50p. Add that to the £1.50 I've got in actual British currency. And chuggers, I told one girl, very good. She said, I love your outfit. I said, thank you very much. But love, I live on about 80 quid a month or less, and that is unreliable at best. Pretend it's booze. And basically, this was followed by me stressing myself out a little because I had to go back home to get a parcel that my other half needed posting for her vegan bath melts, foot scrubs and things like that business that she does. Roots of the Wild, it's called. I think you can find it on Facebook. I don't think she does Instagram, but yeah. So there you go. If you're in the market for that kind of thing, talk to my partner. Who's at work, she'll be home later. I think a bottle of wine may well be cracked open. Now and then, I'd already been politely accosted by a Jehovah's Witness who was very pleasant about it and gave me his card. I might use it for crafting material later, sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Then there were some Southeast Asian, a man and a woman, missionaries, Christian ones, I presume. And I dodged them the first time. He handed me a flyer the second time. And then, that's right. I forget his name. But basically, third time I went past him, he tried to hand me a flyer again. And I blatantly put the first one in the recycling bin, but he wasn't paying any attention. I was like, excuse me, you just gave me one of these earlier, mate. And I put it in the recycling bin. I'm not interested. And I was, pardon me. Oops. I was fuming by that point, disgusted, and then some idiot on a scooter nearly ran me over, and I may have called him a very bad word for a lady's genitalia. And, just then that pleasantly chilled out afternoon with a girl who started coming in, Chip and Chris and Mike, of course. And Tiffany. Hi, Tiff. Give us a subscribe. Hello. Who Chris, bless him, he encouraged her to draw, and she did a really good painting of a sort of like imaginary kind of nightmarish clown figure. This was over hours. This was. So bless her. She's really good. She just needs to be encouraged to harness her energies. It's very creative. And that was, peace and stuff. And then half an hour before they were due to close, you remember me talking about the incident with the teenagers before and the litter, right outside by the Thomas Wolsey statue. Well, basically, did I fill my proper lighter? Hey, it's a bit like my temper, this is. No, and 3 lads, teenagers, I reckon, early teenage. They came strolling up towards the statue. One of them was drinking a glass of some fruit drink, a glass bottle. And they were loitering by the Thomas Wolsey. I could just tell by the look on his damn fat, stupid, ignorant face, because he just looked like the kind of doughish dullard. He's probably a bully at school, and the other 2 were his sidekicks. I could tell he was looking for somewhere to dump it before he walked up, and he clocked the fact that I was watching him intensely. And they decided to move off. And I watched them. They got 20, 30 yards up the street, and there were some iron railings, and he dumped the empty bottle on the iron railings. And I instantly set off up the road, and on my way there, I was like, "Oi, you little, see you next Tuesday. Get back here." And they knew that I was talking about them, and they were hesitating for a second. And I come striding towards them, and they just left. I was like, "I'll do your job for you. I'll dispose of it properly. Yeah, come on, come back here, and I'll shove it up your..." Or something like that, I was brimming. I'd had enough of just people being petty, self-absorbed, annoying, unthinking, dull, stupid, ignorant, soulless pieces of rubbish. Well, I managed to be fairly controlled there. It just puts a black pit of despair into my heart of the beauty of creativity I'd been watching, and painting the figures for Space Crusade, and just chilling out, and Mike playing some copper instrument that makes really wonderful bingly bong noises, and I was just like, oh, some little dullard with no imagination who thinks he's showing off just has to be effing clever, doesn't he? And then this lady who'd evidently heard me use a very bad word, but she wasn't really frowning, she was nodding in tacit approval. Several people who saw this, because it was still fairly crowded in town, were doing the same thing. She came walking over with her kid. Didn't look, particularly lower class or middle. I couldn't have judged what class she was or her background or anything. But basically, I said, "Little sod, I've been watching him since down the street." And she was like, and she turned around at me and said, "Well done. I hope he gets drop kicked." Oh, well done. And that, I was still obviously very hyper angry. If anything else had done anything in front of me at that point, then, I won't be talking to you from here. I'll be talking to you from, the cop shop or whatever, possibly. Hopefully not. That would have really pissed the missus off. Sorry, darling. No, and put the bottle in the bin at Chip. I think Mike wanted to use it to make a flute or whistle out of or something. Bless him. And, well, chilled out a bit. And then two other teenagers, alternatives, walked past singing, I think it was Linkin Park. No, it was Pearl Jam. They were singing a Pearl Jam song at the top of their voices as they walked past. And me and Mike were outside and we just gave them a round of applause and they acknowledged it and they were grinning and it was really nice. And then a mum and her two kids who were by the Thomas Wolsey statue, she just grinned at me and the child as well. I was like, wow, because we appreciate that kind of thing at Chip. We see someone doing that, we applaud them if they're doing it well. And they were all right, they were just full of life and having a good laugh. They really were. And that's good to see. And then he got run over by an idiot cyclist on the way home again. So I used the bad word again. Well, what can you do? They're there. These words are there for a reason. They are the hammers and nails. Well, they're the sledgehammers in communication to get a point across. I'm not saying it's that big or clever sometimes, because stupid people can use them. But it's using them in the right places to make the point you're trying to get across. And now I'm home and I'm chilling out a bit. I might do something creative in a bit when I've got me, reason or whatever back, But yeah, so that was the story of my day so far. Being aware and justifiably righteous for nearly the entire day is really draining, I know what my favourite Terry Pratchett character, Captain Vimes of the Night Watch, feels like sometimes. And I know why he used to drink. He just smokes cigars, I miss that man. Terry Pratchett was a great writer. Really was. Great human being as well. But he had, according to Neil Gaiman, I saw an interview. He had that same streak of self-righteous anger about people being stupid as I do. Maybe that's why I liked him. And to me, Vimes, the character, was him in his novels. I don't recollect whether Terry Pratchett had any problems with alcohol. Maybe he found another outlet for it. But it had always, in a way, been mine. But I was just using it wrong. I think these days, 9 times out of 10, 7.5 times out of 10, I'll say 6 times out of 10, and it's getting better. It's improving. I use it in a correct manner and correct quantities. Last week at my friend Rick's Rake. My friend Rick's wake. I'm quite tired. Takes me out of me. Being this, eco crusader and crusader for people just showing consideration for others. So I admire certain parts of, say, Japanese culture. Politeness and consideration is ingrained in them as a way of life. And that always amazes and attracts me so much. And so I've forgotten. It started in the 80s with Thatcher's cult of self-interest. Some of you might not even be old enough. I know the age range is 35 to 40, so all of you will be, who currently watching my channel. I've been looking at the analysis. And it just got worse in certain sections of society in the 90s. And now it's just all self-interest and self-absorption. And the media and the big companies, they play into this. You want this car. You want that kind of house, show what a big, profitable, good worker you are. Look at you with your individual but mass-produced 4x4 Land Rover Discovery. Wow. Look at you with your smartwatch. Look at, that's gold plated. Look at you with your Bentley and your Maserati. And it means nothing. If you're an utter little shit, what does it mean? Oh, but I'm rich and comfortable. Yeah, but can you live with yourself after what you do for a living? You know? Can you justifiably say that you feel a productive human being when all you do is sit in an office all day, answering calls, moving money around, and in some cases probably ruining people's lives? How do you sleep at night? It's also wrong. I don't get it. I don't get how people can be so inconsiderate of other human beings. It's like this, we'll call it a government, shall we? Government's latest move where they're apparently decided they're not, making any more special consideration for Ukrainians fleeing the war. What, is it old news now or something? The fact that people are fighting and dying in the Ukraine. Yeah, there's people who argue that the Ukraine are just as bad as Russia. Okay. There's bad seeds in the Ukraine. But Russia started it. And that's childish. But when it comes down to it, they were the aggressors on a sovereign nation. The Danes are sending all their artillery shells. We should send them Boris. I still think that would be cool. Just, launching from a catapult or on a drone, waving two Union Jack flags and, hello. He could probably crush a Russian armoured vehicle by sheer mass alone. And then there'd be the infectious bullshit that had spread amongst the Russian army. It's a sign of old age, laughing at your own jokes, but someone's got to, haven't they? I don't know, man. I wonder about the future of the human race sometimes. But we need to end this on a positive note, don't we? I'm trying to think of one now. But all I ask of you people out there watching this... Oh, I'm backlit, aren't I? Oh, there we go. Like the rising sun in my face, with the Spitfire rising above me. That's the damn busters, I know. It's nothing to do with the Spitfire, but it was the first thing that came to mind. Yeah, and a little bit uplifting. But yeah, just be good to each other. Consider each other. Have respect for each other, but first have self-respect. Please. think about it. Think about what you're doing, how it affects other people. That's all I ask of any of you out there. Peace. One of these days, maybe I'll find some, because finding your own peace of mind and a little smidgen of contentment is all we can hope for in this world. Nothing else means a shit. Till next time.